तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी, जय गोपीचन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन, यमुना तीरा वनचारी, यमुना तीरा वनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा। जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा, जय प्रभुपदा श्रील प्रभुपदा। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परमदक्ष अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमती स्वयं श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन संस्थापक आचार्य श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परमदक्ष अष्टोत्तर सदस्य श्रीमती भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद सदगुरु किशोर दास महाराज की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद सच्चिदानंद श्रील भक्ति ठाकुरा की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास महाराज की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्ट रघुनाथ गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। नमस्कार श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से गो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर शिव साधु गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री गौरांगी बैंगलोर ईश्वर भगवान की जय। श्री मायापुर धाम की जय, श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय, गंगा माई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की जय, इस्कॉन वर्तमान गुरुवृंद की जय, समाविद भक्तवृंद की जय, गौरव प्रेमानंद की जय। All glories to the assembly. This all glories to the assembly. This all glories to the assembly. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Patreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtihi. Hare Krishna. Welcome you all to the Friday morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 12, Text 17. Tasyam Vishuddha Karana Shivavar Vigahya Bhattva Sanam Jitamarun Manasha Hritakshah Stule Dadara Bhagavat Pratirupateta Jayam Stat Apyavahito Vyasrijat Samadhau Tasyam Vishuddhakarana Shiva Amar Vigahya Buddvasanam Jitam Marun Manasah Hritakshah Stule Dadara Bhagavat Pratirupayeta Dhyayam Stat Apyavahito Vyasrijat Samadhau Tasyam Vishuddhakarana Shiva Amar Vigahya Uddvasanam Jitamarun Manasa Hritakshah Stule Dadara Bhagavat Pratirupayeta Dhyayam Stad Abhyavahito Vyasrujat Samadhau. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In Badrikashrama, Dhruva Maharaj's senses became completely purified because he bathed regularly in the crystal clear purified water. He fixed his sitting position and by yogic practice controlled the breathing process and the air of life. In this way, his senses were completely withdrawn. Then he concentrated his mind on the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord, which is the exact replica of the Lord, and thus meditating upon him entered into complete trance. Here is a description of the Ashtanga Yoga system to which Dhruva Maharaj was already accustomed. Ashtanga Yoga was never meant to be practiced in a fashionable city. Dhruva Maharaj went to Badrikashrama and in a solitary place alone he practiced yoga. He concentrated his mind on the Archa Vigraha, the worshipable deity of the Lord, which exactly represents the Supreme Lord. And thus thinking constantly of the deity, he became absorbed in trance. Worship of the Archa Vigraha is not idol worship. The Archa Vigraha is an incarnation of the Lord in a form appreciable by a devotee. Therefore, devotees engage in the temple in the service of the Lord as Archa Vigraha, a form made of stula material, objects such as stone, metal, wood, jewels, or paint. All of these are called stula or physical representations. Since the devotees follow the regulative principles of worship, even though the Lord is there in his physical form, he is non-different from his original spiritual form. Thus, the devotee gets the benefit of achieving the ultimate goal of life, that is to say, becoming always absorbed in thought of the Lord. This incessant thought of the Lord as prescribed in the Bhagavad Gita makes one the topmost yogi. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupagata Mahyam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Saganargunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parayana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinapanto Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanushte Devi Pranamami Haripriye Ancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya Patitana Bhavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Moham karoti vachalam pandamati digam kripatam maham vande Shri Gurum Dhanataram Paramantamadam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So here we see in this sloka how Dhruva Maharaj followed the practice of how to leave the body. We are all concerned about how to live and how to live in an opulent manner. But Dhruva Maharaj gave a perfect example, even in the Satya Yuga, as to how he went to Badrikashrama and there he bathed in the holy river. And then, because the water is crystal clear, purified water, as mentioned in the purport also. Generally, life in city is not very peaceful and conducive for self-realization. So even the earlier years, people used to go to either the mountains or the forests. And Badrikashrama even today has got that opulence as a very holy place. And people still visit that place in spite of a lot of austerities that one has to undergo to reach that Badrikashrama. So Dhruva Maharaj went to Badrikashrama and took a bath in that holy river and he practiced yoga. So we must understand what is this yoga. Yoga means not just doing some physical exercise, but meditating on the four-handed form of the Lord in the heart. Now, there is a process for that also. It is not that straight away somebody takes a pose. So we have heard asana, pranayama, niyama, and all those things. So Dhruva Maharaj, after taking a proper position, which is called asana, and then he started the other things like pranayama. This pranayama is nothing but controlling the breathing process by which one's senses are completely withdrawn. I mean, today people might interpret for their own convenience, saying that we do pranayama as a physical exercise to keep ourselves healthy. But the point is that when the breathing air is controlled, then the senses are automatically withdrawn. Unless and until the senses are withdrawn, one cannot practice meditation or bhakti or of any form of service to the Lord. So Dhruva Maharaj practiced this and then he concentrated on the Archa Vigraha form of the Lord, which is an exact replica of the Lord himself. And he started meditating on that form of the Lord and entered into deep trance. So in the purport, there is a mention as to how this Archa Vigrahas or the worshipable deity of the Lord is non-different from the Supreme Lord. So now the Lord has got a spiritual form which is made of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. One of the devotees, I think he's also present online today, he asked a question, how is that form, how can that form be perceived? The point is that we can't perceive that form of spiritual form of the Lord. But here, for the purport, we can very clearly understand that the deity form of the Lord is not different from the spiritual form. So the form of the Lord in the deity form is made of many stula, that is clearly mentioned here, material objects such as stone, metal, wood, jewels, or even paint. All these are stula because they are all physical representations of the Lord. But still, even though the deity form is carved using the material elements, like there's mention of even paint. Paint means the picture is painted. So even picture is as good as the deity form of the Lord. There are different levels of worship. Of course, we don't get into that detail. But the point is that uh, whether it is a picture or a deity form of the Lord, they are non-different from the Lord. So Dhruva Maharaj carved the form of the Lord that he could understand based on the Shastras, and he worshipped this Archa Vigraha. Now, this Archa Vigraha is not idol worship. That is why we call deity. Now, Archa, and now many times people call idol worship. People also worship many demigods. People also worship politicians, musicians, so many personalities in the material world. So those types of worships are called idol worship. But worship of the Lord, when it is installed and worshipped as per the Shastras, then it becomes the deity form of the Lord. Otherwise, even when the Lord is not worshipped, it is an idol worship. So when it is installed and given a form and installed and worshipped as per the guidelines given in the Shastra, then it becomes a deity form. So that form is not different from the original spiritual form of the Lord, consisting of eternity, bliss, and knowledge. So if we can't visualize a spiritual form, we can meditate on this deity form and worship the deities. And the Lord, when he becomes pleased with the regularized worship, then he accepts that worship, and the Lord is physically present in that deity form. Also, we may not be able to realize it, but I'll give you some examples from the Shastras by which we can understand that the Lord is physically present in the Lord. Now, in the deity form. Now, uh, for understanding even the deity form of the Lord, one has to associate with devotees and learn from them. Uh, if a person does not associate with the devotees, then naturally, man, it's said that man, being a social animal, has to interact or associate with other materialistic people or even animals or whatever it is. But we see that how, when one does not have association with devotees, how people, great personalities have fallen down from their positions. For example, Vishwamitra was a great yogi, and he practiced this Ashtanga Yoga for many thousands of years. And one day, just by, he was actually in Samadhi. Samadhi means in trance. That means one is actually fixed on the form of the Lord. But what happened was, he heard the noise of the angle bells of Menaka, and then he lost his meditation, the process of meditation. So that's why it is said that one should go to the forest or mountains and practice meditation. Of course, in this Kali Yuga, meditation is not at all possible. One should still adopt the process of chanting in the Kali Yuga, but one cannot chant in a highly disturbed place. So one needs a place which is very silent and in the mode of goodness, like a temple, to perform chanting. Some more examples are there, like Bharat Maharaj. He was very deep in meditation, and at that time he heard a sound and he saw the tiger chasing a deer, pregnant deer, and the deer tried to cross over. And the process, the deer died, but it gave birth to a small deer, which fell in the river of the water, in the water. So Bharat Maharaj picked, out of compassion, picked up that small deer and kept it in his ashram, and thereby he developed some attachment to the deer. And the deer became the cause for Bharat Maharaj to fall down from his exalted position, where he was a great devotee of the Lord and he had to take the body of a deer. And another similar example is about Shaurya Muni. Shaurya Muni was also a great yogi, and he went underwater to perform tapasya, austerities for many thousands of years. At that time, he just saw two fish mating with each other, and he became disturbed after that. Then he thought that he should then get married. But what had happened was he was already very old. But then he approached the king of that kingdom and asked for one of the daughters to be married to him. But the Saubhari Muni was so old that none of the daughters wanted to accept him. Then he was a great yogi. So these yogis have a lot of mystic powers, and by his mystic power, Shaurya Muni transformed himself from a very old age, where he had a lot of wrinkles in his face, etc., to a very young, youthful form. And again, he went back to the king, asking for one daughter for getting married. But this time he was so attractive that all the 50 daughters wanted to get married, and finally he married all of them and went back to stay with the family of 50 daughters. So as he was passing through his life, finally he realized that He was a great yogi who was meditating on the Lord, and he has forgotten the Lord himself. And then later on, he realized that the cause of that was he saw two fish mating, and that's how he fell down from his position of meditation. So that's why it is not very easy, particularly in Kali Yuga. So that's why we see that many people go to temple to worship deities, but still they don't understand the importance of the deities, or they are not able to meditate on the form of the deities. Now, the Lord Himself says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, in the text 2, saying that those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great and transcendental faith are considered by me to be the most perfect. That means the Lord Himself declares to Arjuna that if one sees the personal form of the Lord, we can't see Krishna directly, but then Lord is present in the deity form of the Lord in the temple, and then worship the Lord with great faith and uh, transcendental faith. The Lord says they are considered to be the most perfect. So we look at some of the examples. Srila Prabhupada himself has quoted that Srila Prabhupada's example itself is that he had a lot of attachment for his own deities. And this, when by worshipping the deity form of the Lord, one is able to control the senses and his mind also. And he is able to control his desires. By controlling the mind, he is able to control the desire. Now, desires are something, they keep flowing just like rivers. The waves of the ocean flow into the waves of the river flow into the ocean. By the time one desire is fulfilled, we develop a desire for another sense gratification. So desires can never be stopped, but desires can be diverted by engaging in the service of the Lord. For example, the deity form of the Lord is given to facilitate this diversion of desires to the Lord instead of our sense gratification. For example, we have a lot of desire to see beautiful, attractive objects. But then, when we see the form of the Lord in the deity, then automatically our desire to see other beautiful things goes off. Similarly, the sense of taste. We may have a lot of desire to taste very palatable foods, but then the same thing, if we cook for the Lord, offer it to the Lord with love and affection, and the Lord accepts it, and we take this remnants of the Lord as prasada, that prasadam purifies our sense of taste, and our other senses also become purified. Srila Prabhupada always mentions that the origin of sense gratification starts from the tongue. So if we are able to control that, then all other genitals also become controlled. So when we eat the remnants offered to the Lord as prasada and honor with faith, then automatically other things like other senses also become controlled. Then we also see the worship of the Lord. We hear nice kirtan, we hear nice katha. So this way we engage all our senses in the service of the Lord. So these stula materials or material representations by which the deities are made or the picture is made, they are all as good as the Lord Himself. But then one has to follow the regulative principles of worship in the association of devotees. Though they are physical, they are non-different from His original spiritual form. So Srila Prabhupada, at a very young age itself, even when he was a small child, he exhibited a lot of symptoms of attraction to a deity. So when he was a small boy, he heard about this Puri Rath Yatra, and he wanted to have a Rath made just like the Rath in the Puri Rath Yatra. But then his father went to a couple of carpenters, and he thought that he could not afford it. So when he was contemplating on that, an aged woman came to his father and said that she has got a rath and she can give it to Srila Prabhupada's father. And then she gave it to him, and then he made some repairs to it. And then it is said that Abhay himself painted it like exactly like a replica of what the rath in Puri is. And then Abhay had at that time a full festival when he was a small child for 8 days. And his mother cooked a lot of delicious items. he would offer them to his Radha Krishna deities when he was just 6. And he started worshipping just by imitating his father. And whatever he ate, he offered it to his Radha Govinda deities. So it is said that even when he was a very small boy, he would wake up by hearing. His father would get up for Mangalarti and offer worship to his deities. And by hearing that sound of the bell, Srila Prabhupada would wake up and see his father worshipping the deities. So that's how Srila Prabhupada was actually uh, inducted into deity worship right from his young age itself. Another important factor is that it is said that whenever Srila Prabhupada would see the deities, he would offer his dandavats for a very, very long time. And then devotees would wait as to when he would get up. And even at the time of Rath Yatra, it is said that Srila Prabhupada would actually offer these Dandavat Pranams in the middle of the road for a very long time. So devotees would be wondering as to why he is offering obeisances for a very long time. And then later on, they realized that when he got up, Srila Prabhupada's eyes were flooded with tears out of love for the Lord. And that was his true love and affection for the Lord. So there is a quote in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam where Krishna tells Uddhava, he says the devotee should offer homage to the Lord with all kinds of hymns and prayers. That means one should offer all kinds of prayers to the Lord when we see the Lord, deities, both from the Puranas and from ancient scriptures. I mean, we also see at the time we sing the glories of the Lord or we sing Kirtan, they are all offering prayers to the Lord. By then, a devotee should pray, "O Lord, please be merciful to me." Then the devotee should fall down flat like a rod to offer his obeisances. And further, the sloka says, placing his head at the lotus feet of the deity, he should then stand with folded hands before the Lord and pray, "O my Lord, please protect me, who am surrendered unto you. I am the most fearful of this ocean of material existence, standing as I am in the mouth of death." So one should not just go and look at the deity and come out, but rather one should offer his obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord and offer this prayer. I can repeat this again. He says, the devotee should say, "Please protect me, who am surrendered unto you. I am most fearful of this ocean of material existence, standing as I am with the mouth of death." That means one should pray to the Lord to be protected from Maya. In fact, Srila Prabhupada always said that one thing that he is always afraid of is that Maya, because Maya is very, very powerful. So we should pray to the Lord to be protected from Maya. And this deity worship is especially recommended for Grihastha devotees, because in the case of Brahmacharis, they used to live in Gurukul, where they have some standards along with other Brahmacharis. But Grihasthas, there is a tendency to engage in sense gratification and to become averse to the sense gratification. It is said that one should take to deity worship, which will enable all the family members, because our husband goes out throughout the day and he is exposed to the outside environment, which is highly polluted, particularly in Kali Yuga. And the wife also these days goes to work and she is also exposed to the society. And that's why we see that men exploit women who are supposed to be the weaker sex. And many times we see cases of rape and murder and so forth. So that is why it is said Grihasthas are recommended to worship deity form of the Lord, so that they can be engaged in the service of the Lord. This will purify their existence and they will be make spiritual progress uh, gradually. Of course, this requires some theoretical and practical knowledge also, which can be had with the association of devotees. A few pastimes are there which are related to the deities. One of the important ones is during Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, there was a devotee in the name of Gauridas Pandita. So this Gauridas Pandita was a very close associate of the Lord, and he in the Krishna Leela, he was Subala. And he was a part of Krishna's pastimes. It showed how dear he was to Krishna. So similarly, Gauridas Pandita was also very close to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu crossed over the Ganges by rowing the boat with an oar. Uh, uh, and then he crossed over and went to see Gauridas Pandita. When he saw Gauridas, he said, I have crossed this Ganges by rowing the boat with an oar. And this is the oar, you please take it. I am giving it to you. With this oar, mankind can cross the ocean of this material world. Then the Lord embraced Gauridas Pandita, took him along with him to Nadia and engaged him in some wonderful activities. He said, it is said that even in that village, even today, that oar is present. I forgot the name of the place, if I can get it right. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually, Ambika Kalna. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu composed some very nice, beautiful verses and gave it to this Gauridas Pandita. And Gauridas Pandita then left back for his village. So Gauridas Pandita would see the lyrics given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and tears would start coming out of his eyes. And then when he sees the oar also, tears would come from his eyes because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally gave it to him. And over a period of time, it came to a stage where Gauridas Pandita could not tolerate separation from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood this mood of Gauridas Pandita, and one day he went to Gauridas and told him to bring a neem tree from Nadia and carve a deity of himself and Nityananda Prabhu. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. He assured that Gauridas Pandita would be able to carve the deity on his own without any hindrance. Gauridas Pandita obeyed the instructions, brought a neem tree, and with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, he started carving the deities of both Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So Gauridas Pandita then bathed the deities, and then at an auspicious moment, he had an installation ceremony done and then performed, kept it in the altar. So the beauty of those deities, it is said, are beyond our imagination, but the real realization could be had by devotees of the Lord. And Gauridas Pandita was a great devotee of the Lord himself. So he worshipped the deities very nicely, and the lordships also performed many pastimes with Gauridas Pandita. It said that one day the deities turned into Krishna and Balarama and then started reminding Gauridas Pandita about his previous pastimes with Krishna as Subala. So Gauridas Pandita saw the deities change into Krishna and Balarama and then again to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. And when he saw this, he felt unconscious, but then gradually regained his consciousness. And he saw the lordships transforming to their original form. One day it is said that he prepared a lot of variety. Gauridas Pandita was very poor by this thing. He had no means to earn. But still, because of his desire to serve opulent food, he would make many varieties and a large quantity. And then he would keep it in front of the deities. And the lordships would not eat. Then one day he got very angry. He said, I'm taking so much of trouble to cook and offer you, but I'm not satisfied because you're not eating anything. And then you force me to cook and eat everything. And this way he addressed to the lordships. Then the lordship spoke to him. You make every day so many varieties and so much of large quantity. We can't have this feast every day. We have told you so many times that you make small quantity and few varieties, and you have no means to live. Still, you go and beg and make too many preparations. It is very painful to us. So this way, the deities advised Gauridas Pandita. And then Gauridas said, from now on, I will cook only rice with boiled saka. Saka is the green vegetables like spinach and all. And you eat that. So Gauridas said, from now on, I will make only rice and spinach and you eat that. He started cooking little and the lordship started honored. That day onward, the lordship started taking his offering. Then the lordship also told Gauridas Pandita, now you are cooking properly. We are very much satisfied with your preparations and they are very, very delicious. So, seeing this, the lordships eat, Gauridas Pandita would draw immense pleasure. Another time, it is said that Gauridas Pandita had a desire to dress the lordship with nice opulent jewelry. So, when he was thinking like this, all of a sudden he went to the altar and saw that the deities were already dressed with opulent jewelry. So this is how the lordships were very happy with the service. Then one day the lordships told them that they liked nice flower garlands. Then he went out to collect beautiful flowers and made nice garlands and decorated them. Once it is said that Gauridas Pandita wanted to see Gadadhara Pandita. Gadadhara Pandita was also one of the associates of the Lord. So he went to see Gadadhara Pandita, and Gadadhara Pandita said that today my day has been very successful because I have seen a great Vaishnava. Then Gadadhara asked, "What can I do for you?" Gauridas said, "I pray for something from you. I want Hridayananda." Hridayananda was a small boy at that time. Gadadhara said that uh, Gauridas wanted this Hridayananda to help Gauridas Pandita. So Gadadhara spoke to Hridayananda and offered him to Gauridas Pandita. Gauridas Pandita then trained Hridayananda right from his childhood and trained him in all the scriptures. Over a period of time, Gauridas Pandita initiated Hridayananda and gave him Diksha Mantra and dedicated him to the service of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda. So Hridayananda rendered service to the lordships, and Gauridas Pandita was also very, very happy. So one day, Gauridas Pandita told Hridayananda that he wants to celebrate the birthday of the lordships in a very grand manner. So for which he will go to all the villages and collect a lot of nice paraphernalia to celebrate. So he asked Hridayananda to take care of the deities. Hridayananda served the lordship very nicely, but then Gauridas Pandita did not return for a very long time, and the time was nearing. So Gauridas Pandita, he sent out invitations to all the people in the village regarding the, Hridayananda sent out invitations to everyone in the village regarding the grand celebration. So what happened was Gauridas Pandita returned just a day before the festival and he started to make arrangements. When he inquired with Vidyananda Pandita, he mentioned, "Well, I'm still living. You have acted independently and sent invitation to everyone on your own. Now I shall not join you in your worship." Then Hridayananda Pandita offered forgiveness at Gauridas Pandita's feet, and then he went and sat under a tree in the bank of Ganges. Gauridas Pandita started the festival when a rich man came in a boat full of paraphernalia. So when Hridayananda saw this, he saw and then he sent a message to Gauridas about the visitors' contribution because there was a lot of paraphernalia in that for worship. Then Gauridas sent his disciple stating that he may use them to celebrate on his own. So Hridayananda happily began to celebrate, and then they had part of the festival and they had huge kirtan with a lot of mridanga and kartal, etc. So when everyone was dancing in ecstasy, Vidyananda also could see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu dancing in that kirtan. So seeing that mode of worship, Gauridas heard that kirtan and he was also very pleased. Then Hridayananda also became very pleased, Gauridas Pandita. So Gauridas Pandita took a stick in his hand, and although he was happy in his heart, externally he still started displaying anger towards Hridayananda. But then the two Prabhus, seeing the anger, Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when they saw the anger of Gauridas Pandita, they then entered the altar. So Gauridas could see the lordships present in the heart of Hridayananda. The point is that though Gauridas Pandita started the worship, Hridayananda started also assisting, but the Lord became very dear to Hridayananda also. Seeing this, then Gauridas Pandita forgot all his anger and then he embraced Hridayananda. And from that day, he said, "Your name will be Hridaya Chaitanya." So this is also a very popular name in Chaitanya Charitamrita or Chaitanya Bhagavad. Another example is during the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was a disciple in the name of Lokanath Goswami. And he used to stay in a place called Kishwari Kund in Vrindavana. And he and two more Goswamis were also present during Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to explore the places of pastimes of Lord Krishna. So Lokanath Goswami stayed in exclusion and wished that one day he should serve the deity form of the Lord. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu understood his desire and he came in disguise and gave a small deity form of the Lord and handed it over to Lokanath Goswami's hand and immediately disappeared. It was actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who came in disguise. Lokanath Goswami could not understand who gave the deity, but seeing the deity, Lokanath Goswami started smiling and said, I've been staying in the forest nearby. I could see that the deity started saying that I've been staying in a forest nearby. I could see that you were not satisfied without serving a deity form, so I have come here on my own. I've not eaten anything for a very long time. So please cook something for me. Then immediately Lokanath Goswami started cooking and offering very nice bhoga. He started serving the deities and stitched a very nice cloth bag and carried the deity wherever he went. And the deity was named as Radha Vinoda. This deity also is present in Vrindavan today. One can go and see. Another time, when during Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, one devotee brought a Govardhan Shila and a garland of conch shells to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So seeing these two items, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very, very happy, and he would wear this. The devotee gave it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would wear this garland of conch shells while chanting. Then he also saw that whenever he touched that Govardhan Shila and put it on his head, he was always ecstatic, full with ecstatic symptoms. Then the Giriraj also was almost moist with tears from his eyes. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would say that this stone is directly the body of Lord Krishna. In fact, the Govardhan Shila is not different from Krishna himself. We see in the Govardhan pastimes. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for 3 years, it is said that he kept this stone and garland. Satisfied by the behavior of Raghunath Das Goswami, who was serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu handed over this Govardhan Shila and the garland of conch shells to Raghunath Das Goswami, and he told him, this stone is a transcendental form of Krishna. Worship this stone with great eagerness. Worship this stone in the mode of goodness, like a perfect Brahmana. For by such worship, you will certainly attain the ecstatic love of Krishna without delay. So this is how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives his instruction. Then he said, for this worship, one needs a jug of water, a few flowers from Tulsi tree, and this is worship in the complete goodness when performed in complete purity. So by these instructions, we see that one does not necessarily have to have an elaborate standards of worship. Of course, if one has got the capacity, one should utilize it in the service of the Lord. But even if one is able to worship with Tulasi and Ganges water, that is enough for worship. Or even a normal water, one can invoke Ganges into that water with the mantras and utilize it for worship. So when Mahaprabhu gave this to Raghunath Das Goswami, he thought by offering the Govardhan Shila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has offered me a place near Govardhan Hill. And by offering the garland of conch shells, he has offered me a shelter at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So these are some of the pastimes. Then we see that Uddhava, who was a very clear, dear devotee of the Lord, by one's external vision, Uddhava was not different from Krishna. He was looking like him, dressed like him, etc. But it is said that when he was just 5 years old, his mother used to call him for breakfast, but he would not come, as he would be playing with the dolls in the image of Krishna. So Uddhava would always say that I will come for breakfast only after playing with the dolls in the image of Krishna. This was the understanding of Uddhava himself. So the point is that devotee can also get the benefit of ultimate goal of life, that is thinking of the Lord, that is Vishnu Smaranam. The aim of human form of life is to remember Krishna at the time of leaving his body, which is called Vishnu Smaranam. And that can come only when one is absorbed in the form of the Lord throughout his life. That is why it is said that even if one does not have a deity, they can keep a picture. They should every day. The system was that in the yesterday years, everyone would go to the temple of the Lord, see the form of the Lord, worship the Lord, and then continue with their respective duties. Of course, now as Kali Yuga exposes, that practice also stopped. But still, in Kali Yuga, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is as good as deity worship of the Lord. The Lord is present in the holy name. And then to conclude here with Srila Prabhupada mentioned this incessant thought of the Lord as prescribed in the Bhagavad Gita makes one the topmost yogi. So we see the Lord is concluding to Arjuna his instructions in chapter 6, text 47. He says, Yoginam api sarvesam madgate nantaratmana shraddhavan maybe jate eo mam same yuktata momataha. Translation is, of all the yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So that means the Lord is declaring who is a real yogi. Dhruva Maharaj was a perfect yogi, but what Dhruva Maharaj did was he meditated on the form of the Lord, which is equal to the deity form of the Lord. And then here it's mentioned that one with great faith who always abides in me thinks of me within himself. That means the Lord is present in everyone's heart. One should always think that the Lord is present in our heart and renders transcendental loving service unto me. One should be always engaged in loving service to the Lord. And then he says, such a person is intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So the real yoga is one is constantly, intimately associated with the Lord, and such a person is the highest of the all the yogis. So this is how Lord Krishna is concluding his instructions of who a real yogi is. So the point is that Dhruva Maharaj practiced this, he enters the stage of Samadhi. Samadhi means one is fully in trance, only thinking of that Lord in that stage. That is the way stage one should leave the body. Ultimately, if we don't think of Krishna at the time of leaving the body, we are bound to think of something else that has creeped into our life throughout our lifetime, and then think about that. Maybe a hobby or a family member, whatever it may be. But if one is able to think of Krishna, Krishna says, Janma karma cha me devan, just thinking about the transcendental nature of the birth and pastimes of the Lord, one can free himself from the cycle of birth and not take birth again in this material world. So with this, I conclude the class for the day. If anyone has got any questions or any comments on today's subject, they can ask me. Any questions, any comments? Otherwise, I'll take the class as closed. Thank you all very much. Granthad Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila